Hello everyone, welcome back to the Benchwarmers Podcast. In this week's episode, I'm delighted to be joined by referee Jason Miller. Jason, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. You?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. So this is the first time I've actually had a referee on, so we're intrigued to see what your thoughts are and everything, because obviously there's a lot going on right now with VAR and things like that. But I don't know how refereeing levels work. I know my brother's got one of them, but I'm not too sure how it works. So what level of referee badge are you?
I'm level 4, which is Supply League referee and Contrib liner, which is... So if you think about it, Icon liner, Ossett Town, Pontefract Collieries, stuff like that, which is like the Northern Premier down. And then Supply League. Now, it's changed this year. I can referee at Northern Counties Premier League, Division 1 and West Yorkshire Premier League.
Okay, so like sort of non-league sort of teams.
Yeah, non-league teams. Yeah.
Are you able to line up at a higher level than you are refereeing then?
Yes. So basically, what you do is you referee at the step down that you line, and you can line at the step above, basically.
Okay. All right. So if you say you were refereeing in I don't know how all the leagues work, but like Northern Premier League with what's the Northern Premier League team? I can't think of it.
Your Northern Counties teams, like say I can referee at, let's say, Liversidge.
Yeah.
Round it, stuff like that. And then your next step up, which like I think the biggest one I've probably been to is probably Gainsborough.
Okay, yeah.
The Northern Prem Division, which is a decent standard. So you get a lot of ex-players joining them sort of teams down there to keep playing.
Yeah. So how did you actually get to that position? So what courses did you take?
Well, to start off with, what happened was I got a knee injury. I did my ACL, MCL and shattered my meniscus. And I had my operation, and one of the lads who used to come to football, his dad's he had a junior team. And said, and Phil, his name's Phil Scott, and he says to me, "Look, I need a referee. Can you come do it?" I'm like, "Well, I'll go give it a go." Didn't start off the best, to be fair. Forgot my watch, forgot my whistle. And after that, I'd done the game and I enjoyed it.
Yep.
And I knew I was never going to go back playing because I couldn't afford the time off work. So I spoke to a referee who was refereeing at the time, and he says, "Look, go take a course, see what you think." So I went down, booked the course, and I went down to Battyford, did the course down there, did the course over the full weekend, and then you've got to do, I think it was 10 games, and then you become a fully qualified referee. You've got to take an exam as well at the end of the weekend. You take an exam. All that depends. If you pass that, then you go on to your 10 games. And then once you've done them games, you're away then.
Were you ever a decent player?
I was decent-ish. I'd never make it to Premier League, but it's one of them where I used to think, I was a decent player, and then you just enjoy it, and then I miss that. I do miss playing, to be fair. What we do is at the end of every year we do a refs v managers game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a chance for managers to kick 10 bells out of us.
Yes. Well, I'm sure you'll get that a lot. But what position did you play?
I played on wing. I was left wing.
No.
So and then I sort of drifted back to defence then.
As you do when you get older, So obviously, like you said that you played left wing. So did you ever find playing on the left wing and then maybe playing as a linesman sort of was similar in the fact that you had to run up and down the line, had to keep up with play?
Yeah, it is. But also, as a liner compared to playing, if you switch off as a player, it's not too bad because you've always got somebody, let's say your left back, to cover you. But as a liner, if you switch off, all of a sudden you can find yourself 5-6 yards behind play. Yeah. And all it takes is that one shout offside, and you're like, hang on, I should have been in line there, and I'm not. So, and majority of games are recorded, so you're always going to get found out.
Yeah, well. So we'll sort of go back to the courses then. What did you find most hard about the courses?
Do the courses aren't actually hard to do because when I went, I don't know if it's changed now, but when I went, it was basically a discussion between everybody, and they taught you there how to referee. We had David Fuller there, who, spoke about it, and then basically, as you had like two tables of different groups, and you just spoke about scenarios and how you deal with it.
Yeah.
And then your practical side, you go out onto a field, which we were at Batterford. We went out and we'd do scenarios, and they had tutors there, like Brian Hamilton would give us a scenario where we had to referee it. And it wasn't very hard, to be fair. It was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I'd recommend it for anybody who's finished playing to go doing a course.
Yeah.
And see. It's a bit of extra money as well.
Yeah, well. So how many people were sort of doing it alongside you, like in your class?
In that, I think there were about 15 of us at the time. I don't actually know how many on that course actually still referee now. And I think there's only one or two of us that are still refereeing. One's just stayed lower league, whereas I've progressed as much as I can.
Yeah, well, you mentioned there that you were referee Batty Ford. So did you sort of start off at Sunday League then? Because I play for the Open Age team now. So did you start at Sunday League and then move into some Saturday football then?
Yeah, what I did was my first port of call was Every Woolen Division. It's no longer going now in that. And that was Sunday. And I went on to Spen Valley Saturday League, which are two different, And then I got, Spen Valley then, when they folded, did the league. And I moved on to West Yorkshire League, which they're, Premier Division Supply League. So I were doing, let's say, Aubrey Town, Beeston, St Anthony's. I were doing their reserve teams.
Yeah. And
then I were lining for them first teams, as I were progressing through. So that would have, and then I moved from there onto the Northern Counties lines when I were going for I think I was level 5 at the time. I were lining on Northern Counties, which were, that were enjoyable because you're going from like a park field with barriers around it to inside a miniature stadium.
Yeah, like stands and things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, like you mentioned before as well, you had was it an ACL injury?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not too sure how far apart these were, but how did you find it to recover from that and then get back running as a linesman or a referee?
It took me probably 7 months to fully recover to being back fully fit. I was lucky because when I did it, I had my operation privately.
Okay.
So I had private physio, and he worked wonders. And then then you've just got to do it yourself. Then get yourself back fit. I mean, I was still when I did the course, I was actually still injured at the time.
Okay, well, so luckily, did you find it harder doing it then?
Yeah, I did because I knew that if I've got to run, it's going to hurt me.
Yeah.
So I had to sort of only put half-hearted in, but once I'd, told them what reason why I'd not put everything into it were because they understood and I'd still got the required marks to pass, so it really didn't affect me. So
yeah, well, just because if you didn't have that injury, you might have gone on to do even better then. But
yeah, true.
Well, sort of goes to my next question then, which was, is there any sort of difficulties you had to overcome in order to become a referee?
I'd probably just say my knee injury, which is, and it's, getting injured on a game and trying to recover from that because you don't want to give back word on a game because you're injured. And it is referees demanding on your body. It can be very demanding on your body, so you've got to recover yourself pretty well. And if you are injured, just come off. It's easier just to come off the game rather than try force your way through it and end up doing more damage to yourself.
Yeah. So what was it actually like when you first ever game referee? Were you just nervous or maybe confident because of the course? Or
my first absolute carnage, I'm going to call it. It was you running around like an headless chicken because I wouldn't weigh. I got hit by a ball.
No.
I think if I remember rightly, I'd give a pass back for a tackle. And I knew
there's some solid decision making then.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we're absolutely. I didn't know how to talk to players. You know, you're effing and jeffing and yourself. You get frustrated with yourself, and then it leads to your bad performance. But then, once I'd done the first game, then I'd go out and watch higher referees, and that's how I've managed to bring myself to, actually be able to manage a game of football.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'm guessing, are you a Huddersfield Town fan?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel sorry for you. So
I knew we were going to say that.
I'm a Bradford fan. I can't help it. So, well, saying that League Two Championship, but I won't go into that. So, like you say, then you sometimes watch other referees and how they control the game. Do you nowadays, whenever you watch Huddersfield or anyone like that, do you sort of keep an eye out for the referee and seeing what he's doing?
I can't. I can no longer watch a game of football.
Oh, really?
Really? Yeah, I cannot watch a game of football for the enjoyment because I'm always looking and watching what the referee's doing. It's awful.
Do you just do it naturally, or do you just?
It's natural. It is. It's just instinct. You don't. I mean, I've sat there and gone. Like on Saturday when a man got sent off on Town game, I've called for it red, and it's like, well, I'm just watching a game of football, but I can't do it.
Yeah,
I'm making decisions.
Well, so along with that, obviously you talked about your first game as a referee, but did you find it easier in terms of your first game of being a linesman, or did you find it harder just trying to make sure everyone's on side?
I found it harder to be on the line because you've got to be switched on for the full 95 minutes or however long you're playing.
Yeah,
you cannot afford to switch off online. Whereas as a referee, you can have a lapse in concentration where you can make that up. But as a liner, you've got to be quick to make up your 5 yards because especially if players going at full pelt, it's really hard to make up that type of ground.
Have you ever actually? Actually, don't ask that. I was going to say if you've been at fault for one, but I won't go into it. Actually, is there been like a sort of decision or a mistake that you made that you've realised after the game probably wasn't the correct one as a referee or as a liner?
I've not necessarily incorrect. I've done it where I've questioned myself and I've gone, the offside? Are the offside? I've give the offside, and then you question yourself for days on end. Whereas up until that video comes out, you don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say I've been incorrect because I never know. But there has been times where I've been proven right to be, so I don't think I've ever got any massive ones wrong.
Yeah. So obviously you line loads at Gainsborough and people like that, some quite decent teams. Do you ever get any sort of hate from the fans behind you, or just any questioning?
I don't think it's hate. I'm not gonna I don't think it's hate. I just think it's frustration because they're watching the ball. Let's say we'll go for an offside.
Yeah,
they're watching the ball constantly. So when they look at that line, that guy could be 10 yards. Looks like he's 10 yards off, but he actually isn't. He's coming from behind. So they scream and shout. They give you absolutely everything. Where for a fact he were onside. But I mean, once I step over that white line, I get what you call tunnel vision. So what is said behind me, I don't really pay attention to, because if you let it affect you, it could ruin your game. So you just tend to use your switch and just switch off. Yeah.
Well, like you said, then sort of as a liner, you've got to try and keep up with play, keep focus. Do you find it hard to sort of stay fit, leading up to a game then?
No, I'm generally a fit person anyway. I've always have been. I tend to look after myself, but I've never really struggled with my fitness. But I've noticed since lockdown it's harder to train. It's harder to motivate yourself because there's no games for me, so there's nothing coming up. So I've not got the motivation to go out for a run, go out and do this. There's no way of, because if you've got a game on Saturday, you can look forward to it. Yeah. Whereas at the minute, there's nothing. So I'm fine. You find it hard at the minute, especially with lockdowns and stuff like that. It is a lot harder.
Yeah. Have you refereed or lined during lockdown?
Yes, because the actual games continued.
Yeah.
But there were only, first of all, it were closed stadium.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. What's it like with no fans?
It's weird. It's weird refereeing with like 5 or 6 people in a stadium. It's not, you just don't. It's echoey.
Yeah.
And then they opened it to 300, I think it was, to start with. And then they knocked it back down to 0 and then just called it a day then. But it's been, this season's been hard because it's stop-start. Yeah. You can't keep going. Obviously, like you say, you do a game on Saturday, you're supposed to have a game on Tuesday and it's been called off because of either, lockdown or there's a COVID case. It plays havoc with you.
Yeah. So what is actually like the largest sort of scale event that you've refereed at, like not necessarily the biggest stadium, but like the biggest game?
Probably the biggest game I've done was a Yorkshire international game.
Okay, yeah.
That were broadcast by BBC, ITV, TalkSport. Everybody were there, and I can't recall how many people were in there, but there were a fair few fans in there.
Yeah. What was it like refereeing that then?
Well, I was liner at that time, and I got a buzz off it. To be fair, when you're walking out and they're cheering, and there's a fair amount of people in there, yeah, you do get the buzz. You do get an adrenaline rush.
So, am I right thinking that was like the only ever Yorkshire international game?
No, I think they've played a few more after that, but now because I think it was Corney FA. It's called. I can't remember. Yeah. But now they're using international referees to come and do it, So if Yorkshire were playing, they're probably using somebody from Belgium or something like that, I believe now.
Was yours just like the first game then?
Ours were the first ever game, so they could get a ranking. As soon as they played that game, they got a ranking, you see. So it were... There were 3. There were me, Steve Lynch, and Mick Leadbeater who did the game, and we were on what they call comms at the time, and that were it were a laugh on them as well.
Is that when you get the earpieces and talk through that?
Yeah, that's the headsets. Yeah.
When you don't have them, how hard is it like to communicate with the referee?
It's no, because if you're giving a decision, you've got what you call buzzers. So when you press A button on your flag, the referee's got a pack on his arm.
All right.
And that tends to draw your attention as a referee to your liners if your liner's going to give something. And there's a lot of eye to eye because not a lot of referees use them. Yeah. And I've had it where the pack's gone down and I've been caught out with a flag. But now, obviously, a lot more of eye to eye contact. And if your liner wants to get your attention for something that's happened, they just stick flag up in the air and wave it.
Yeah, well. So, what you like as a referee, obviously, because you can't give them out as a liner, but what's the most red cards or bookings that you've actually given in the game?
I can't actually tell you because I don't actually keep a record of them.
Yeah.
So, for me, it's not something that you're proud of. You're not proud of giving your yellow cards out, your red cards out because it's. What you want is a decent game of football where you don't have any cards at all.
Yeah.
So I don't really keep a track on my cards.
Yeah. Do you ever hesitate then in giving out cards?
No, I don't hesitate. I can't say I hesitate because once that tackle's gone in, you know what you're going to do. I've once taught myself out of a yellow card, but then once I've got closer, I've given the card. If that makes sense. So I've as you're walking over, you're like, no, you don't need to book him for that. And then you get there and you think, hang on a minute. At this time, the game needs a yellow card, and then you give it. It's not something you can. There's no point going there as a referee and only doing half a job.
Yeah.
So you go there and do your job that you need to do.
Yeah. So like along with like yellow cards and red cards, have you ever? What are your experiences like in terms of breaking up like a fight in the pitch or players just brawling with each other?
Let them do it. As awful as it sounds. Let them do it and deal with what you've got to after.
Yeah.
So you get let's say it's a tackle that's caused a mass confrontation. You get a person that's made tackle. You get your retaliator, and then normally your liners will come on and you'll form like a triangle around them.
Yeah.
Come together and deal with whatever's been, whatever anybody else has got. Then you give them, whatever you need to do. I wouldn't ever try to get myself in front of them.
No, yeah.
What I tend to do is, if I can stop it from happening before it, if you can see players coming in, you can protect that player before anything comes, you've only got your one card then. Stand in front and you just get your arms out and don't let you don't let them past you. And anybody that goes past you, ends up with a card anyway. So,
yeah. I had something that I was going to ask, but I completely lost it now. So when you're doing your coaching courses, you're getting advice from them and things like that. What is the actual advice given to you about like calming down players before or after a brawl carries out?
What I got told is time. Use your time. Slow everything down. So once let's say you've given the decision, you've had a bit of mass confrontation, you've had 2 red cards, temperatures are flared. You then give what I tend to do is give every little free kick, because then it stops the potential. Because you get one slide tackle, then somebody else is going to try come in with a bigger one.
Yeah.
So all I'll do is I'll just kill the game, and then players tend to start getting bored of that. Ref, you're giving everything. As soon as you want to play football again, we'll play football.
Yeah.
Until then, I'm going to kill the game. And it tends to work. What you do is you give them a leash. If you need to pull your leash in, pull it in, and then just let it go again. If you need, just let it reel out, and when they want to play football again.
Yeah. Obviously, we've seen the Premier League where there might be a fight or something, the managers might disagree. You can just send them to the stands. And non-league football, obviously, you can't really send them to the stands because it's not really a stand. But you've had a situation where you perhaps had to like split up managers or try and talk to them to stop them from getting so involved?
No, not with managers. I've never had I've had a disagreement. A manager's had a disagreement with me over a penalty.
Okay.
In a cup final, he's called me over after I've given the penalty and they've scored. But then I've just sort of ignored him and gone on with game. I've never had 2 managers come together. I don't think I have. That I can remember anyway. I can't remember 2 managers coming together. But there's been times when managers have come on pitch after game.
Yeah.
Wanting to ask about your decision and ask this and ask that, but you just tend to look. Let's not do it out in the middle of the pitch where everybody can see you. Do it back in changing room where you haven't got 50, 60 people watching you.
Yeah. Well, so I don't know exactly how non-league works as well, but do they have 4th officials or anything like that?
No, we don't. No, we don't work with 4th officials. We work with them if there's a cup final. We'll work with them.
Yeah,
but I think 4th officials come in on the National League Premier Division.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
So,
who like decides how much stoppage time, or is it just you as a referee?
As the referee, you're as a referee, you're the, as I say, sole timekeeper. So you'll decide how long's going to be played. You do. If you've had a lot of injuries and a lot of you stop and starting your watch, so I'm lucky with my watch because my watch calculates it for me.
Yeah.
So every time I stop my watch, it'll calculate how long I've stopped my watch for.
Okay.
So you tend to put on whatever you need there and then, I think longest I've had is about 8 minutes.
All right. What, just an injury or something?
Yeah, we had an injury. We had there were I think all 6 subs were used. Keeper were time wasting, so it tends.
Yeah.
It all amounts up.
Well, along with that, like you mentioned before, you've been in a cup final, you've given a penalty in a cup final with a disagreement manager. So do you feel as if like giving penalties compared to just a normal free kick outside the box, you're a bit more lenient in terms of what can be done, because obviously you don't really want to be giving penalties unless it's absolutely necessary?
Yeah. Our easiest way to describe it is, when it's a penalty because it hits you hard. You go, wow, that is bang. Then we'll have the penalty. And you do as well. You can go a lot on players' body language. When a player spins round and looks at you, that he's done something.
Yeah.
So you do tend to know when it's a penalty and when it's not.
Yeah,
it hits you in the face.
And you said there about sort of players reading their body language. Do you, like, in a game, obviously you'll be talking to players about your decisions and all that, and after a game about anything said. So what is your relationship like the players during the match compared to like actually when you leave, for example?
The play during my, I like to think I'm an approachable referee. So if I've given a free kick and the player wants to ask me a question, I'll happily chat to him.
Yeah.
While I'm still doing my job, because let's say I'm walking out a wall and he's asking me a question, I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him there and then, and we'll do it there. 9 times out of 10, they accept it. After that, you just say, look, we'll agree to disagree, and we'll get on with the game. And then they do tend to talk to you, all right.
You sort of have to like work out what sort of character they are, if that makes sense.
Yes, you know what players you can talk to and what players you can't. You learn that during game. So if a player is questioning your decision every 5 minutes, you're not going to be able to talk to him.
Yeah.
Whereas you'll get a player that, let's say, one at skippers, you tend to get along with them. Look, have a word with him now. You let the skipper do the job. If you've got to do it, obviously a yellow card's coming his way. Do you know what I mean? So you do tend to know what players you can and can't talk to.
Yeah. So like sort of along with that, then, how do you deal with mouthy players, and like do you have certain training how to deal with someone who might like have a go at you or constantly call for everything? Or
I just tend to switch off with them, and you let them know that, look, you're now starting to get on my wick and you're on my radar.
Yeah.
And then you just tend to have a glance at Skipper. Skip, shut him up before I've got to shut him up.
Yeah.
And it does tend to work. Now, luckily, like I think it's like for the last couple of years, we've had sin bins on some leagues. So if a player is giving you dissent, it can happily go sit aside of his manager for 10 minutes.
Is that what? Is it just go off the pitch and just sit down on bench for 10 minutes?
Yeah, basically what they'll do is they'll go sitting there, and probably 9 times out of 10, the manager does tend to have a go at them. Well, they're down to 10 men, aren't they? So
yeah, well, and
especially if they concede in that 10 minutes while he's off pitch because he's been giving you loads of lip, managers do tend to work with you with it.
Yeah. I'm not too sure this works at sort of like non-league level then, but I know I think it's League 2 level at least. The referees go to the games together, sort of in the same car or anything like that. Do you do that at your level?
Yes. Yeah. Not now because of COVID.
Yeah, because of COVID. Yeah.
Because of COVID, we're not allowed to travel together. But normally, what we'd do is we'd arrange a meeting point, and then we'd all travel together to the ground. Now, if you've got a liner that lives 2 minutes away from ground where you're refereeing at, you're not going to get them to meet you.
Yeah.
You just say to them, look, meet me at ground and we'll do everything there. Meet at a certain time. We normally meet about an hour and a half before the game.
Yeah.
Do your pre-match and stuff like that and get everything sorted, team sheets and that. So normally you do meet, your assistants somewhere adequate for them, adequate for you, and then you go to the game.
Yeah. Do you feel it's important then that you have a good relationship with your assistants?
Yeah, you've got to trust them. You've got to trust your liners to be able to do a job for you. I mean, like you say, even with offsides and stuff like that, if you don't trust them, you're going to question that decision.
Yeah.
So you do tend to have a good relationship with your liners.
Yeah. So I sort of talked to Rachel briefly about this before, but Your biggest achievement as a referee was, I haven't written it down, but it was referee of the year somewhere, wasn't it?
Yeah, I got referee year for the West Yorkshire League.
Okay.
That's obviously what you marked on club marks.
Yeah.
And your average club marks are taken into account, and I got it. I think it was my second season. My second season refereeing, or third. It was one of them. And anyway, I just got a call to say, look, congratulations, you've won referee. I didn't even know I'd be anywhere near, to be fair. So I've not,
Do managers sort of just give you a mark out of 10 after every game then?
It's a mark out of 100. So
okay.
I think it's a mark out of 100. And I think, like I said, the average that year were probably about an 82.
Okay.
So it's a pretty decent mark. So I've always had a good relationship with clubs.
Yeah.
So I like, that's because I'd like to think it's because I'm approachable, and I'll openly admit if I've made a mistake. Look, if I've got it wrong, I apologise. And it tends, they tend to work with you.
Yeah. Do you find out what mark? Do they tell you to your face what mark they've given you after a game?
No. What they do is they mark you when you go. When they submit their team sheets in to the league, there's a mark on bottom, but you never. Sometimes you can see what mark they've given last week's referee though, because it sometimes goes through page, so you hope that you're better than referee before.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned there you've got a good relationship with certain managers and things like that. Is there one team where you've managed that where you particularly just enjoy where you just particularly enjoy refereeing there? Like a stadium or an atmosphere or something like that?
No, there's nowhere where you really, really enjoy going to. I mean, there's clubs where you go to and you don't mind going. You've got your likes of your Campion, Liversidge, Emley, where you're really looked after. They look after you well, and there's some places where you're just left to your own devices. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because sometimes you want to be left alone.
Yeah.
So, there's nowhere that I don't enjoy going to. I enjoy going to every club around that I've been to. You've always been all right with you.
Yeah. I'm probably a bit into the deep end here, but is there anything that's any stories you've got in terms of your referee career that you thought just sort of a bit random or funny or anything like that?
Funny?
Sorry, I phrased it deep end a bit there, just on spot.
No, I've got one. I were at Headingley against Robin Hood, and my now coach, who's Steve Lynch, he were refereeing game.
Yeah.
If I remember rightly, Robin Hood have cleared the ball, and it smashed me in the middle of, well, you know where, and I've gone down.
No.
And it's knocked me for 10. So the play's gone on. Referee didn't stop play. The ball then gone out. He then shouts to all players, hang on a minute, let's all look and laugh at him. He's not stopped, to make sure I'm all right. It's, look, let's just stop and laugh at him.
Did the players actually laugh, or was it just...
I think everybody laughed a bit. I think even I started laughing at some point after I'd finished crying.
Can't even stop it before and just okay, then we'll quickly move on from that then to sort of, I want to get your thoughts on certain what's happening in the world in terms of referees and things like that. First of all, I think this is quite an important one. What are your thoughts towards VAR?
VAR is, for me, I'm going to say it's a good thing. I think if everybody worked with it, it'd make it better for everybody, because the problem you've got is 80% of people are against it.
Yeah.
And they're going to scrutinise it for whatever it is, whether it's the tight offsides. Okay, you look at some, and I'll honestly say that you look at some, you think, well, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But also you look at Spain, where they've used it. Where you don't hear of anybody complaining.
No, yeah.
Nobody during the World Cup, nobody complained about it then. And then all of a sudden we've got it in Premier League. Everybody's against it. So I think if everybody worked with it,
yeah,
I think it could be a good thing for it. That what everybody's got to realise is the ultimate is the right decision.
Yeah.
So if you go, let's say a couple of years ago, where people are going home saying, "Is handballed that before he's putting it back at net," it now takes that away from it. So now you're going away saying, "Well, VAR got that handball." We've come away, we've drawn one apiece.
Yeah.
So for me, I think if everybody worked with it, I think it'd be a good thing.
Yeah. Do you, as a referee, do you feel it's like? Oh, I doubt you'd ref with it actually working with you. But would you, if you were to have it working with you, do you feel like you'd have more security as a referee in terms of just knowing whatever decision you make, you can go back and have a look at it straight again?
Yes. Yeah, I would. If you've had one of them calls where, let's say, a penalty decision.
Yeah.
You've given a penalty, and you think it, like you get that split second where you think, I might have got that wrong. And then, from what I can gather, you get it over your ear saying, or let's say your official that's doing VAR says, "Jason, I think you need to look at that. You might have got it wrong." You go over, have a look. Yeah, okay, I've got it wrong. Right, we'll go with corner. Then one of your key match incidents ain't going to be talked about because you've given a penalty wrong.
Yeah. So in terms of other things that have happened then as well, David Luiz recently got a red card. Have you seen what he did against Wolves?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
What are you think it's a red card, or I'm judging you against that?
I'm going, it is, the letter of the law is it's a red card. He's denied a goal scoring opportunity. It is harsh. I will admit it is harsh. Yeah. But if you read the laws does state he has denied a goal scoring opportunity and he hasn't tried to play the ball, albeit he's trying to pass around the back of him and the contact's being made. So for me, if that's my game, I'm giving a red card for it. I am, and it is, and as harsh as it looks, as harsh as it is we've got to stick to the laws, and the law states it is a red card. So I can see both sides of it.
Yeah.
As a football fan, you're saying it's harsh.
Yeah.
But as a referee, I'm saying it is a red card.
You mentioned like the laws there as well. They literally change every single year nowadays. So, do you, like at the start of maybe a new season, do you get like an email with all the different changes and you have to analyse them all, look through them all, just implant them into your mind?
Yeah, basically what you can do is, I mean, anybody can go online and get the laws at game. Anybody. I mean, Rachel's got it on her phone. So, that every time the law book comes out, there's a paragraph that tells you about the changes.
Yeah.
So you'll know what's changes, and it's then down to you to learn them. So if you for whatever, let's say we start a new season, I thought, sod it, I'm not going to bother. There's not many changes. You will get caught out throughout the season.
Yeah.
Where like when they changed the penalty decision, where if you've made a genuine attempt at ball, it used to be a red card. It's now a yellow card. Now I know a few referees that have been caught out with that. They've gone and give a red card when it's not. It's only a yellow card. So if you don't have your knowledge of the laws of the game at the beginning of a season, you're going to get found out.
Does it sort of depend what league you're refereeing at? Is it like a different sort of rules for each league?
No. Every law is the same around the world. Every referee, every football game is played off of the FIFA laws. So no country is different with the laws. Every laws are the same.
In terms of like obviously the handball rule, I know right now especially it's a bit blurry as to what it is, because I've seen people, it depends how close you are to the ball when it's kicked, having the hands down by the side. What are your sort of thoughts towards all of that and all the controversy going around with it?
It's for me the handball is a tricky thing. Now, if a goal is scored via a handball, whether it's accidental or not, it should be ruled out.
Yeah.
So if somebody goes up, smashes the ball after an handball, it should rightly be brought back. In my opinion, I to do away with all that, what I think they should do is, regardless of whether it's accidental or not, I think it should be handball.
Yeah.
If it is your arm, it's your hand. For me, we should stop game. Give it. I mean, we don't, but I think that's how I think we should do it. Is if it's your arm, stop. Give it that way. Then it takes away any controversy out of anything.
I've structured this real badly in terms of how I've been talking about it all, but
I do that.
one thing I wanted to get your thoughts on as well. It came out 3 hours ago about this, but obviously Man United versus Southampton. Man United won 9-0, bit embarrassing for Southampton, but there's a lot of talks going on around the refereeing of that game, and now Southampton saying they don't want Mike Dean or Lee Mason to be part of their season in terms of refereeing, and a lot of people are saying that they should referees should now like boycotts out from refereeing Southampton to show support for Mike Dean and Lee Mason. What are your sort of thoughts towards that? Do you think boycotting is the right way to go about it, or do you think we should just take on the chin?
I don't think boycotting it, because then referees are going to get the name. They're going to get the names out there where there's been childish and petty towards the clubs.
Yeah.
What we've got to remember is everybody is going to have a different opinion about a referee. Now, regardless of his performance or not, Southampton coming out and saying they no longer want them in their stadium, I think, is wrong. It is.
Yeah.
What they've got to remember is no referee goes out there to deliberately to go against the team.
Yeah.
Every referee is impartial, regardless of what the scoreline is. And I didn't watch the game, so I don't know what his performance were like, so I can't sort of comment on that. But I don't think it's the right way to go as referees start boycotting stadiums, for instance. They've said that's so we're going to boycott it, because it'll start getting silly. And as referees, we've got to remain impartial from anything. So you won't want that surrounding you, really. Yeah. So for me, if you're appointed, go do the game, and that's the way you go about it, and you just go about it normally. Yeah. For me.
Again, that structure is terribly, but like you said there, in terms of being appointed for a game, how do you find out what game you're refereeing this week, or is it just random each week?
Right, so what we've got a thing called MOAS, which is an administration. So it's a calendar.
All right.
So what you do is let's say beginning of January, and we were all about a week before. So it'd be in December. You get notification through email to say you've been appointed to games.
Yeah.
And then so you're working so once you're doing January's games, February's will come out. And what you do is you can close your dates. So let's say tomorrow I didn't want a game. I'd have to close my dates before the fixtures are published.
Okay.
Or you're giving backward. And you don't want to be giving backward on too many games, because you start to get a name for yourself. So what you'll do is you'll get your appointment through. You'll then get your assistants on the game, and then you find out if you've got an observer or not. Now, when I mean by observer, somebody comes and watches you and evaluates your performance, and that's how you get your marks through observers. So, and then you put on a merit table. So if you're up top throughout the season, you get promoted. And I missed out by a shortfall last year, but I had 2 observers on my last 2 games that got postponed for COVID.
Oh, God.
I'd like to think that would have put me probably up there, but it is what it is, isn't it? Nothing you can do about it.
Is that how it works then? So, like, an observer will come watch you, he'll report back to the league or whatever, and then you might get promoted to, say, Northern Premier League, National League North, anything like that?
Yeah. What'll happen is, throughout the season, you'll have a fair few different observers come out and watch you. After the game, they'll come in changing room. They'll talk about your decisions that you've made. They'll give you pointers on their opinion on it. Now and then you get scored on it, and then at the end of it, you get a report. That's reported to FA. You'll get a copy of your report, read through it, and for me, it's a good thing, because you can look back and, right, okay, this observer said I won't get him wide enough. So now you know that you need to start getting wider. So then you develop your game, and that's how you develop. And without the observers being there, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah.
So the observers, the people that are out, your John Burns, Dave Fullers, stuff like that are coming out and watching you, who'll give you pointers. And also the people like your coach, you know, like Lynchy, who he comes out and watches my games when he can. And he's brutally honest. He is brutal. But that's better because what you don't want is somebody going around woods telling you how great you are and not telling you how to do it, you know. So he'll come and he will be brutal with me.
Yeah. And of course, you mentioned like observers there as well. Would you have any interest in possibly going into becoming an observer after your refereeing career sort of pans down?
No, not. This is going to sound awful because I don't like the writing side of it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So what the thing is I struggle with is I can go watch a game, I can observe him. Let's say I can go into the changing room and I can talk to him about his decisions, but then putting that onto paper or onto an email that they send out, I couldn't do it because I wouldn't know how to write it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I leave that for more experienced people that like to write stuff.
You mentioned there as well, like obviously, you can be a referee, you can be an observer. You can also be, I don't know what the right word for it is, I guess, a coach who taught you, put you through your refereeing badges. Would you ever be interested in going into that as well?
Yeah, I'd go coaching. I'd like to, you know, because what you've got to look back is the younger people that are coming through.
Yeah.
They're the next generation of referees that are coming up. So if you can give your knowledge to them, it gives them a bit more of a step to get into the next level, to keep going.
Yeah.
So if you, what you remember is as well, throughout the year, we lose a lot of referees because of, let's say, the abuse.
Yeah.
A lot of younger. What we did a purple shirt campaign, and I think it's still running now, which I think is great. So if you go out to watch a game of football, and the referee's got a purple top on, you know he's under the age of 16, I think it is.
All right.
So for me, I'd like to think it make people question whether they're going to absolutely hound him.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas somebody like me, who's all in black, for instance, are just, you know, they give you the stick from sidelines, for instance. You know, the parents, you can, you know, somebody that's older can deal with situations. What we've got to remember is that these 16-year-olds, they're still in school.
Yeah, yeah.
They haven't developed into adults yet, so they don't know how to deal with confrontational people. So and then they'd probably go home, throw the bag down, I'm not refereeing again. And that's the last you see of them. So if I go coaching and I can prevent that and I can help them, then that would be a great thing to do.
Yeah. Do you just referee on weekends, or do you referee during the week as well?
No, I'm out midweeks. I can be out sometime. This year, once I was out Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, I was out.
Oh, well. So how does that sort of work then in terms of like getting to and from games? Do you find it more difficult?
I don't find it difficult because obviously I own a garage myself, so I'm my own boss. So if I need to leave early, I can tend to leave early. But you know, you've got like the kickoff times are 7:45. So they are quite. I'm not going to say late, but they are later on in the evening. So you come home, get a shower, but you are setting off probably 5:30 to get to games, depending on where you are or where you've been sent to. Now, they do try to keep you quite local. Midweek, you are kind, you know, you are close.
Leagues are regionalised as well, aren't they, sir?
Yeah. So you know, it's not too bad if you're only, you know, if I'm only at Liversidge.
Yeah,
I could probably set off quite later, you know, because I think sometimes you probably meet about 6:15.
Yeah.
So I could probably set off if it's an half. Let's say I tell my assistants to be there for 6:30, I could set off at 25 past.
Okay.
How close I am, so it's not too bad.
Are you refereing tomorrow? Oh,
no,
because the leagues are all cancelled. Yeah.
Yeah, leagues are all done out there, so there's no. I mean, you can get. I mean, there were only 2 weeks ago at Huddersfield when they played Salford.
All right. Yeah.
Aligned on that. So I'm still getting games, but they're not. I'm not getting them every week. It's
Is
not
that rugby or like youth teams or?
It's football. Huddersfield Town. It were B team.
Oh,
So
right, yeah.
but they did, like I say, there were a couple of first teamers playing in it. So it's and it's a good run out.
Yeah, well, yeah. Do you find it more difficult, like coaching younger people? Well, not coaching. I don't like you say coaching. Refereeing younger people. Yeah.
No, I don't. You do tend to have a bit more understanding with them. You tend to chat to them a bit more, and if you go into professional clubs, they'll chat to you all day long.
Yeah.
They don't tend to question your decision as much at the youth ones. They tend to just get on with it. They want to play football.
Yeah.
Whereas your teams that are, your first teamers are probably scream and shout at you, to be honest.
Yeah. Sort of last thing from me then, I mentioned this a bit earlier about being unbiased in a football game and working with both teams. Would you find it hard refereeing Huddersfield Town first team if it came to it?
Yes.
Do you think you'd be going more towards Huddersfield?
Town would probably win 8-0. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. Town would probably win 8-0. To be fair, other team would probably have about 4 men sent off.
So you got to do what you got to do. 3 points.
That's it. 3 points is 3 points. End it there.
Yeah, well, that is all from me then this week. I'd like to thank my guest this week, Jason Miller.
No problem. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no worries. And we'll see you all next week.